It's a very special trader chat with Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward. As you can see, he's getting into the spirit, not so much maybe of Royal Ascot, but of Euro 2020. Not envious at all that England are there and Ireland are not, but it's Royal Ascot time again, Flynn. You're going to the racecourse. You're actually going to stand as a bookmaker at the racecourse, which is hugely exciting.
It is indeed. I can't wait to get there. Although I have had a look at the weather forecast next week, Johnny, and middle of June, the weather's been absolutely glorious. It's lovely outside today, but next week, thunder showers. It doesn't look great. So it's going to be the first week back, and I'm going to be again absolutely soaked. But can't wait to get back, call the punters in again, and what a week's racing we have in store. What I do just quickly want to say was when we were organising to film today, Johnny said to me, "Do you fancy filming at 2 o'clock, Flynn?" And it's currently 2 o'clock on Sunday. It's currently half time in the England game, so we've had to squeeze it in at half time. But that just shows you where Johnny's allegiances lie. He didn't even know when England were playing today. But we'll look forward to Royal Ascot next week, and we'll have that to talk about now.
Yeah, I was out on a cycle and I wasn't sure. I thought the England game was early, but I had a brain freeze, and it's kind of been one of those weeks. But simple question for you: how does Royal Ascot compare turnover-wise to Cheltenham?
During the actual week, it will contend with it. It won't be as much. I mean, Cheltenham is the mecca, but in terms of fancy post, it doesn't quite shape up the same. I mean, completely nowhere near, to be honest with you. I mean, I was having some beers with some of the lads last week, and we were talking about the races for next week, and we're probably talking about 5 or 6 races maybe. Whereas Cheltenham, I can tell you what's running in all the handicaps in the cross country. So it just shapes completely differently. And then obviously they've added a race to each day this year. So there's 7 races each day instead of 6, starting at 2:30 each day and then finishing at 6:10. So there's more races to look at. Obviously the flat horses don't have the longevity that the jumps ones have. So it does shape completely differently. And that kind of does reflect the betting, although we have got some kind of big positions going into the week, and I'll call them out kind of going through day by day. So I guess we want to start with the Tuesday. We've had final decks through this morning, so we've got a better picture of these races. We'll go through the Tuesday and Wednesday card a bit more in depth.
I love the Tuesday as well with the King's Stand, St James's Palace, and obviously the Queen Anne. So you 3 good ones, and you have the St James's Palace this year. Maybe they're probably not a vintage group of milers, but it's fascinating nonetheless.
It is indeed. I mean, starting with the Queen Anne, it looks like Palace Pierce probably going to get favourite backers off to a really good start. When we look at the benefit of the race, Palace Pierce 2 to 5, then your 13 to 2 bar, and that'll be Order of Australia, and then your 10 bar, that one. So it's got a lovely each way shape to it. I'm sure we'll be laying a lot of each way bets in the office for the kind of people wanting the place edge there. I would imagine that Palace Pierce will get backers off to favourite backers off to a very good start. We haven't got.
Do you reckon you're going to lay serious bets on him, or is that like? Do people like? Would you get your 100 to win 40 sort of bet?
I would imagine he'll probably be more permed up as he's the first race of the meeting. I would imagine he'll be permed up with kind of other short ones with Stradivarius later in the week, rather than the kind of big bets flying in the first race. But we'll just have to wait and see what comes in. If people are coming up to the pitch and want to have 100 grand on to win 40, then I'm sure I'll be laying that if it's on the show just before the race. So do come see us on the pitch. We've got 2 pitches of Royal this year, or just call up and phone through the office, or go via the app. We'll be happy to lay your bet anywhere, especially at Royal Ascot. The next race on the Tuesday is the Coventry. Coffee Maker's the favourite there for Wesley Ward, which is around the 3 to 1 mark for the Coventry, 130 actually on site. Looks like it's probably going to be a warm order. He's kind of gone under the radar for the race until the last week or so. Castle Star was favourite, but he's been pulled out. I think he's staying over in Ireland to go to the Curragh. The horse that came second against Castle Star was Masetto. He also goes here. He's second favourite at 11 to 2. He's the one that I've bet in the race. I thought he was really unlucky the last day. Cadamosto was the one we saw money for, but actually hasn't been declared. So I'm assuming he's going to go for one of the races later in the week. Like I said, the one that I've bet is Masetto. I'll be hopeful of him, but Coffee Maker coming over for Wesley Ward is the one that's going to go a favourite, one of the really speedy American horses. So Coffee Maker will probably be the warm order there. Then we move over to another sprint, which is the King's Stand. And we have one of our biggest anti-post losers here, and that would be the horse called You Better Believe It. We laid a decent sum of 14 to 1. We're now 11 to 1. The hot favourite there will be Patash. He's obviously, I think he's 7 years old now, Patash, so he is getting on a little bit, but he'll be the favourite in the King's Stand.
God, that makes me feel old even.
Yeah. In the, I mean, the Tuesday is probably the best day of the week, isn't it, in terms of quality, Johnny? When we do look at Royal Ascot, and that's kind of backed up when you've got the Queen and the Coventry, the Kingsdown, and then we move on to the St James's Palace. So, poetic.
Sorry, I mean, missing something with Patash at 7-4. Like, he's fine fresh. The ground is going to be perfect for him. He's the fastest horse around. Is there something, is he? But then again, he was like, I think he was 5-6 in the race last year, which didn't take as much winning. But I don't know. I'd be inclined to back him.
I've never found him the most trustworthy of horses. I don't know whether it's just me and just me getting him wrong and the uphill finish at Ascot. Who was he beat by a couple of years? Was he beat by Lady Aurelia a couple of years ago?
Yeah, in that mad race, yeah. But like, in fairness to him, he obviously can get worked up beforehand. And, was it 2019 when he bombed out at Longchamp? That was on bad ground. Last year, he won these 3 races very handily. And you knew from the get-go, like in the race last year, that he basically was going to win. He was just travelling strongly. He wasn't that keen. And it's probably, he might even be getting a bit more amenable with age. I wouldn't have any issue backing him. Say if you've got Winter Power as your second favourite, like what is he defined with the rate on ratings? £9, albeit he's getting weight for age. It's a lot to find at that level.
Yeah, and he's obviously been there and done it for Patash. So 7-4 might look a bit of a juicy price, but we'll see come the day and see what the price does there. When we look at the St James's Palace, Poetic Flair's been pretty weak at the top of the market. Highland Avenue has been the one that they've gone after. We laid pretty lumpy at 8-1 anti-post and then 7-1. We're now the 11-2 mark with Highland Avenue, albeit
Frankie booked for Thunder Moon as well.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Obviously, didn't run his race. Was it back in the Guineas? He didn't run his race. Off my head. So it'd be interesting to see how he shapes. But it looks a really warm race. The St James's Palace and pretty open as well. Then we move on to the longer distance races. So the Ascot Stakes. We laid MC Muldoon at 14-1 here. It'd be a very big loser for us anti-post. He was potentially going to go for the other race on the same day, which was the Copper Horse Stakes, I believe. The new race that they've added in over 1 mile 6, but he's been entered here now 3-1 MC Muldoon. So we've laid 14 anti-post, not a good position. Ben will not be happy with that one, and we obviously aren't either. Now 3-1 favourite, then you bet 13-2 Rayaport and then 17-2 Bar. You see some jump sources in there: Cape Gentleman for Emmett Mullins, Coeur de Leon for Alan King. So plenty of kind of dual purpose types in the Ascot Stakes. And then we move on to the Wolferton. And the one that's been really popular with us here at Star Sports has been Felix. Been hugely popular. We laid at 8-1, and he's now a similar price. He's a little bit short with us. He's 6-1 now. But you're right to think that we've got plenty running for us here. When you see that it's kind of 7-2 to field, and there's kind of loads and loads of runs in the Wolferton. So that's just a little spin through day one. So if we want to move on to day two now. Kicks off with the Queen Mary. Twilight Gleaming heads the market there at 11-4. But Illustrating has been the one that they've wanted to go after. The real warm money has been for Illustrating around the 10-1 mark. We're now 8-1 there. Then we've got the Queen's Vase. We haven't seen much actions here. Wordsworth heads the market at 3-1 in the Queen's Vase. The Duke of Cambridge, Lady Beaufort, will be all the rage, you would imagine, and is the biggest loser in the race for us thus far. We've seen a bit of nibbles for Double or Bubble, who's been nibbled out in the market around the 10-1 mark. We've then got the Prince of Wales, which I did see Matt Chapman earlier talking about the Prince of Wales Stakes, saying that it could be the best race of recent times, which I just really didn't see, to be honest, when I looked at the field. Lord North heads the betting there, and then Love is second favourite. What I would say is I think the rain is going to come towards the end of the week, so around the Thursday. If it does come earlier than that, you'd have to fear for Love turning up, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah. And I think she's favoured for the Arc still, if I'm not wrong, which could be a Nate O'Brien kind of bonanza the way it is in terms of his fillies. But you would, we haven't seen him since York as well, which is interesting. Adea, Barmarie, it is going to be a good race to be fair. Lord North likely to go off favourite. 4 horses rated in the 120, so yeah, it's a decent renewal.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't see it as one of the best races of recent times, but I think what he was talking about was that I think there's a horse coming over that's one of the Breeders' Cup, and then you've got horses coming over from Australia and Ireland and stuff like that. So it's kind of a battle of the nations, which is how you could pitch it. You did just mention the Arc. Snowfall's favourite at 5-1, and then second in is Love at 13-2. Then Mishriff is 8-1 with Tarnoa. So Aidan O'Brien's got a strong hand over in the Arc with both of the fillies. But it'd be interesting to see how that race does shape. Love is just about the biggest loser for us anti-post, but nothing too major, so not huge kind of sunflade in that race. And like I said, Lord North has the bet in there at 13-8. The last race I want to talk about on the Wednesday is the Royal Hunt Cup. Finest Sound is the current favourite, and that's been the one for money. Relays as big as 12-1 all the way down to 8. He's now favourite at 8-1. So Finest Sound has been one of the well-bet horses on the Wednesday. And then I've only got a few more races to talk about. Like I say, we kind of know more about the race on the Tuesday and Wednesday. We don't know a huge amount about the ones later in the week, but I'm just to talk about the featured ones. On the Thursday, we've got the Ribblesdale. Looks like a great race this year, to be fair, with Noonside, Diviney, and Ashada in there. Diviney has been pretty popular after her third in the Oak Shade. Really nice. I thought was travelling really well, but obviously could get nowhere near the leader. And I could see her kind of just progressing through time. So it'll be interesting to see her in the Ribblesdale. And then we've got the Gold Cup on the Thursday, and it's all about one horse, and that is Stradivarius. He's going to be in all the kind of multis. We've also seen kind of decent singles for him already. We laid a decent sum at 11-8 a couple of months ago. We're now 5-6 Stradivarius, and like I say, will certainly be one of the highlights of the week. I mean, outside of Stradivarius, it doesn't look like the most competitive race, does it? You've got Subjectivist in there at 11-2. You've got Trushan in there at 15-2, 9-1 Spanish Mission, and then you're 11-1 Bar, and that's 17 who got supplemented for the race. So you think that if he's just on his normal going day, he should get the job done, shouldn't he, Stradivarius, Johnny?
Absolutely, yeah. He's basically the modern day Yates, and you know, you'd imagine I'd say like the bookies week might somewhat hinge on whether he's, if not the whole week, but a lot of it will hinge on whether he wins or doesn't. As you talk about all those multiples, like he's a massively popular horse because of his longevity, and he's going to be roughly, give or take, tips on or 4-5.
Yeah, could even be short of that, but the tips on wouldn't be a million miles away. So he will be the one that I would imagine that they really go after on the Thursday. Moving on to the Friday, just 2 days to go, just 2 from Friday. The Coronation, Empress Josephine, she's a 72 favourite there. Pretty Gorgeous has been the one that's been pretty the popular filly with us. We laid it 11-2, now 5-1 chance. I always really like
that's mad. There was not good word for her before the Curra at all. And she ran accordingly basically, and she's obviously had a stop start here. Would probably be reliant on that rain coming on the Thursday. Yeah,
potentially. Moving on to the Commonwealth Cup, Campanelle looked likely to be a warm order there, but it's actually been pretty easy to back in the market today. We saw a little bit of money for one, which was the second favourite. I'll just find that for you now. We saw a bit of money for Sueza. Yeah, 5-1. I'm not sure whether Campanelle, I'm not sure what the angle is, whether it might be the rain. I'm not sure if it needs quicker ground. And that rain's obviously going to come on the Thursday. I did see Declan Ricks tweet out that between midnight and 9 a.m. on the Thursday, some forecasts are showing about 28 mils of rain. So that could completely change the picture towards the back end of next week. And that might be the angle with Sueza for the Commonwealth Cup. So just want to keep an eye on there. We wouldn't have any kind of big bets going into the kind of Friday as of yet. But then we move on to the Saturday. I want to quickly talk about the Hardwick Stakes and the Star Bogey horse is running here. And it's Johnny Broome around the 4-1 mark. Is your kind of market leader.
Is that Broome, you say? Sweeping all before us, as you say?
Oh, bloody hope not, mate. Honestly, that horse gives me nightmares. So I'm going to be there to see him in person on Friday.
His full brother is going to be hot favourite to Chesham.
Yeah, and remind me who that is.
His name, Point Longsdale, isn't it? He won his Curra Maiden first time out. He looks very, very sharp for a horse by Australia, but he looks he's going to be a hot favourite. I know Fran Berry's all over him.
Okay, we haven't actually got the Chesham up yet, so I'm assuming that the Chesham is on the Saturday. And if the Chesham is on the Saturday, then we won't have that price check as a deck. So we'll wait to see when that one comes through. But like I say, Broome will probably be the one that they go after there around the 4-1 mark. He's probably going to do us in here at Star Sports once again. The Diamond Jubilee, this would be the biggest loser for Royal Ascot so far for us. Dream of Dreams, we've laid 80 grand anti-post at 9-2. So a really decent
80 grand?
80 grand at 9-2 on Dream of Dreams, yeah. So safe to say that is the biggest loser of the week for us in the Diamond Jubilee. So if it's going well, when you're reading the blog from Simon, when you're seeing the videos of me on course at the track and I'm saying it's all going great and all this type of stuff, I'm going to be saving it until the Diamond Jubilee because it could really derail our week at Royal Ascot next week. But that would kind of be how we are at so far. It's not quite Cheltenham in terms of the positions, but we do still have some kind of lumpy bets laid so far. And that's just a quick run through of races for you. I do quickly want to touch on a couple of promos before we do kind of sign off. So as it's Royal Ascot, we do think it deserves a high quality offer. And we are doing the 50% of your average stake offer. So 50% of your average Royal Ascot win stakes, including the win part of the each way bet, will be back as a free bet up to £250. So to qualify, you must place at least one Royal Ascot bet each day of the 5 days. You need to place your bet on the day of race, on the day of each race to qualify. And after the meeting, we'll work out your average stake and return 50% of that as a free bet. So a really good offer to get stuck into there. If you have a bet on each day of Royal Ascot, so play with us each day, and then you'll receive 50% of the win part of the bet as a free bet there next week. We've also got a 10 questions kind of competition to enter. That will be on site shortly. So we've got loads of stuff going on promos wise. We've got Top Jockey priced up on the website as well. Where Frankie Dettori is 6-4 favourite, Ryan Moore 15-8, 7-1 Jim Crowley, and 8-1 Bar. So we've got all the markets. If you go under the anti-post tab, we've got final decks for Tuesday. We've got all the markets kind of priced up, apart from a couple of races for Saturday, which will be up tonight. And we've got all the promos to get stuck into as well. So loads going on for next week, Johnny.
My namesake Wesley obviously targets this meet as well. I was told by an American source that his horse Lucci in the Norfolk just back it. So just have a little, keep an eye out for that. I think it won its maiden first time out, typical, probably 4.5 furlongs or something like that. But apparently he's very good. And the Norfolk does take place earlier in the week, doesn't it? So
it does. It's on the 17th, which is the Thursday.
The Thursday. So this is generalizing to a long way, but obviously Wesley Ward horses, you think they're on top of the ground, so just obviously bear that in mind. But you do love to back a Wesley Ward horse that just it's like a dog, that it's 3 lengths clear at the first bend, go and collect. It's one of these, and I love the way he targets this meeting. It's just great. I mean, we could do with more American horses running in Ireland and England.
Yeah, but it does add a certain spice to the meeting. I remember, I think I first remember coming over when Acapulco won, and I remember, I think I was listening to a racing radio station. I think Ken Pitterson was saying this horse is just huge, as in it's just double the size of anything else in the field. And also obliterated them. Lucci for the Norfolk is 4-1 favourite. Cadamosto, who I mentioned, was pulled out of the Coventry, is 11-2 here, so it looks to be going to the Norfolk. So you should see Cadamosto versus Lucci. Is that Johnny Ward's nap of the week, Lucci?
Well, I mean, that's a terrible mug nap, a horse I've never even seen run before. But yeah, to answer your question, that is the nap of the week, and it's still England 0, Croatia 0.
Lovely stuff. It is indeed, yeah. So if we could wrap up now, because we've got the second half to go and watch, Johnny?
Thank you very much. And keep an eye out all week on the website for special offers and all that. It's going to be a fantastic week. Ireland only had 5 winners last year. I'm hoping that it can manage better than that. Speaking to Ado McGuinness and Jessica Harrington in particular, very confident that they will have big runs from big price horses this week. And check out the Star Sports website and blog for more. Thank you, Flynn.
Thank you.
Enjoy the game and enjoy Royal Ascot 2021.